the body is the subconscious mind, and she's not short of evidence. If you really want a fascinating read, Molecules of Emotion, Candace Pert, 1997, who incidentally made her breakthrough at the age of 28 in 1972, and the Academy tried to steal the knowledge from her. And when she refused to allow them to do so, they sent her into academic exile for 25 years. Nice one, huh? Right. Now, this is something. The longer I work, and the more I work with the Sesquiteser group, the more convinced I am of the truth and the reliability of that assumption. And I never cease to be amazed by the truth of that assumption. Then, the more convinced I am, the more I trust the process. The more I trust the process, the greater the space I'm giving people, the greater the space emerges within those people, and the more creative and productive and innovative they become. I've sat here very quietly over the last 1.5 days, watching the Sesquiteser, listening to them. For your information, on the 29th and the 30th of July, we had a dummy run back home. Everybody was given an evaluation form. Everybody wrote their critical reflections of each other. And in the intervening weeks, when we've got together on Thursdays and Fridays, I've said to talk to each other, tell each other what you think about your work. I said very little. True or false?
True.
Thank you. Lots of people cannot believe that you can say very little, but there are times when I. Right. I was totally unprepared for what has happened in the last 2 days. There have been transformations in the presentation style, in the confidence, in the sophistication of the members of the Sesquiteser group that quite frankly leave me humbled in the extreme. And I am immensely proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any comment to add to that, or should we end? Yes, thank you.
You asked the question whether Joan holds hands, etc. But I can tell you honestly what Joan provided, and I trust and hope that each and every group or anybody that embarks in, be that any form of self-study, be that action research, be that auto-ethnography, whatever your form of study will be, or combination thereof. What Joan provided us was a circle of critical friends, a trusted circle of critical friends, where we could. What Joan doesn't speak much in those sessions. She literally just gets the conversation going and we take over. What happens there is that we're allowed to do reflection on a weekly basis, touching base on what is seen as theory and what is seen as practical becomes one thing. And it makes perfect sense in these sessions. And it gives us a platform that we make contact with our own studies and mindsets and thinking on a weekly basis. And without that, the process would have been very different and very lonely. And I think all of us know that research can be an extremely lonely process because of all the intimidations that enter it. There's questions that you don't always know how to answer because you haven't yet experienced it. But it allows you at least to go back and think about it and go, I need to know more. And that's what the process has enabled us. And that Joan just enables the process, and she keeps it going. But the beauty is, I trust someone that was very intimidated by doing a master's. I trust that that will continue, even if Joan had to leave the party. So, there you go.
Thank you, Narita. I would like to say that I'm hugely encouraged by the capacity that has been developed in the group, that they themselves have developed. That I am increasingly feeling more and more redundant, and it is a great, great joy and a relief. Really. Now, I really do mean that. You see, Kabula and I were having a very interesting conversation about dependency and learning. We have inherited a dependent nation. And I think that one of the biggest challenges that we are faced with is developing people who can operate and think and manage themselves independently. Now, I know you want me to end, but I have one thing I really must do. Because this is very important, people. This is all sorts of people who were here. That's all the people left at home who are actually involved in research at the moment. Our successes, we have 3 chapters in this wonderful book. And there are 14 DUT staff and students featured as the writers in this wonderful book. And I'm unashamedly smosing. I've got 3 copies at 310 Rand each if you would like. Right. The other thing I want you to know is that the first doctoral degree has been awarded at the University of Technology to Dr. Snooks Desmond. This was the title of her thesis. Jack, may I show them your comments?
Certainly, yes.
Jack Whitehead's comments, the 2 examiners, very, very positive. Okay, and these people I'm not showing off. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to encourage you, any of those of you who have the slightest doubts about the viability of this as a scholarly exercise. I'm just trying to demonstrate the wins that are possible. Sponsorships. I do have to acknowledge the wonderful support that we are receiving from our newly appointed Director of Research, Professor Sibyl Moyo, and our newly appointed Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Technology, Innovation and Partnerships, Fred Otieno. At his very, very first public address, I promise you, cosmic interference, I accidentally landed up sitting next to him. During his address, he said he was concerned about the divide between teaching and research. When he sat down, out of politeness, I said, "Thank you so much for that interesting address," but it was more than politeness because it was interesting. I said, "By the way, I just want to reassure you that we are trying to address the divide between teaching and research." And I told him a little bit about the 15 abstracts that had come down to NMMU. And I said, "And now I just have to find sponsorship." And he said, "I'll pay." And that's why we're here. And here's his correspondence to us just before we left. And you can't have him. This I picked up on the practitioner researcher listserv. I do encourage you all to join it. Jack talked about it in his keynote. This wonderful quote that was put up by Sarah Salyers. And I'm reminded by something that comes from over 5,000 years ago. And I welcome everybody to adapt this model because we're just having such a ball with it, and we just like everybody else to have some fun as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Jean. I think what has been wonderful is here we've seen demonstrated what Jean demonstrated with the football at the beginning, the connecting that's been happening. We've seen it, the battle that Jean and Jack have had to play out in the UK and internationally to get this done. Now we're seeing the fruits being realized in this. I think we have an example. Thank you, Narita, for your comment about being a circle of critical friends, and how we wish it that every university represented here could form that kind of supportive, connective group, because the projects that we've heard about in these 4 presentations have been addressing extremely necessary, worthwhile areas of community. We've had the rural, the unemployed, the education department, and now higher education. So thank you very much, and coffee tea break, and please, what do they say? Don't go away, I'm right back.
I think you better go to lunch. I came from another meeting and I forgot these in my office. That's why I wanted to get the last. Thanks very much for